We'll go ahead and get started here. I'm sure there's others that'll be coming in. I promised my wife a pecan-crusted pork chop for dinner tonight at
So we're all going over to Brian's house for dinner tonight. Isn't that great? That sounds delightful.
Couple things. Restrooms, anytime during this you need to use a restroom, you've got these doors right here to the left. There's a restroom there. It's like a one-stall thing, so lock the door behind you unless you want a community bathroom experience. Or you can go upstairs, and there's a women and men's restroom upstairs.
There's a women's right outside this door here.
Is there one over on the side too? So if you need anything, those are those locations for that. Next on the thing, we need to thank Hastings College for hosting this. We sent a message out to them. They said absolutely, we'd be delighted to host you guys tonight, and said sure, let's get this rolling because first and foremost, me and Matt are up here to represent you, the constituents of Hastings. Whether you're from Ward 1 or Ward 4 or 3 or wherever, or if you even have a business in this community, we want to hear from you. That's what our job is, and to help make the best decisions for our community. And I think Tony has a sign-in sheet somewhere around here. And it's important if you can sign in. And the reason why that is if I don't have an answer for you tonight, or Matt doesn't have an answer for you, we want to get in touch with you to give a response back to that question, right? So I'm by no means an expert in poli-sci. That's why I have Bob Amio here. No, just joking. I appreciate the students showing up tonight to kind of listen in on this and why we do it. I think it's important that we have advocacy in our nation, and what we do here is important to our citizens and to what we do. So we have a couple about what, 7-8 slides?
30, 40 slides.
Oh, 30, 40 slides.
That we thought we would go through. I think you should start with who you are and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Brian Hoffman. I've been at Central Community College for 20 years now, 22 years. I had various roles. My expertise started off in computer technology, started as a technician, worked to get my degree. I went to Western Community College, went to Bellevue University, went to Hastings College. Went to Doane, got my degree there in my master's, and I focused a change in managing or leading in community colleges. So I took a role as Associate Dean for Career and Technical Sciences here about 4 years ago. I have 2 daughters and a wife. Kitty Grace, Dr. Grace, she teaches here at Hastings College. She's been here for 25 years, I think is what she's rolling on now. In the communication studies, she's held various roles from Associate Dean to Dean at the college, and now she's back in the faculty ranks enjoying teaching again. My daughter, Alyssa, she is a bright individual. She tells me everything that I do wrong. So you're going to tell me I'm doing things wrong, and that's okay. I hear from everywhere. She's at Hastings High. She's planning on studying abroad. She spent a year in Argentina last year, and she is planning on going to Madrid, so she's going to leave me to go to school at St. Louis University in Madrid campus next year is the plans. I have a freshman daughter as well. Her name is Ariana. She is currently playing unified bowling, and she's loving it so much, she's now going to enroll on the bowling team at Hastings High. I'm also hosting a student at my house right now, Caro Apagini. She is from Argentina, and it's been an experience for me as well to experience different cultures. We've hosted students from 9 different countries now, and bringing that culture to Hastings has been eye-opening to our family, but also the community that we have, and they're excited that what we have here in the United States. And so I'm always pleased when I hear you guys have amazing sports. It's just like in Hollywood. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? You watch the shows, they go to high school, they have sports, this is the Friday night stuff. They don't have activities like that like we do. They don't have any of that tied to high schools. So it's kind of interesting to see different cultures and how they do their high school or their businesses or anything like that. So that's in a nutshell who I am. So
Gosh, I'm much more boring in comparison. My name is Matt Fong. I have lived in Hastings since the fall of 2001. I was a wee little freshman here at Hastings College. And so Hastings College was the reason that I came to Hastings. I grew up in Lexington. And so I graduated from the college, and then I worked for the college for 15 years after that. I have worked for the Crane Trust out along the interstate for the last 4 years, and have really enjoyed my time on council. This is my 7th year on council, so my 2nd term. And my wife and I, we love Hastings. And so Hastings has been a really wonderful community for us to kind of grow our careers, grow our family. We also have a daughter who is 14, who also does a really good job of telling us all of the things that we do wrong. I didn't know that I was so embarrassing, but I really, really must be. So again, we love Hastings, and it's been just a great place for us. Just curious, by show of hands, I'm just wondering how many people in this room live in Ward 4? Good job. I didn't get a count, but I would say more than 90% of the people in this room live in Ward 4. I've always lived in Ward 4. I think that this area of town is such a beautiful part of Hastings, and so very much love this area. And so thank you for coming out tonight to learn about a few updates about our community, and we certainly appreciate your feedback as we kind of move our community forward. So, shall we?
Yeah, so ground rules for tonight for me and Matt here is we're not going to fight, and we're not going to fight with you. We're going to talk, and we're going to seek your input. So we're not here to debate things per se. We're just really here to get your input and value that input. So a couple of different, so kind of that's kind of the safety of the space, and also we're going to hope to wrap this up around 7:30. So if you have more questions,
Or earlier.
If you have more questions, certainly reach out to us. Certainly email us. Or call. I've gotten phone calls to come out and do all kinds of stuff. So, yeah.
Brian and I were fortunate enough to be on KHS Radio this morning, or yesterday morning with Brandon McDermott. And I love the opportunity to actually visit with people in the community. I think we all know, and I think that we all probably have experienced, there's lots of folks who share opinions online, but very few people who actually share opinions directly. And so it's really nice to have conversations with folks. As Brian mentioned, email and phone numbers for both of us are on the city website, so certainly appreciate folks reaching out to have conversations. The first slide here, actually, I also wanted to make sure the group was aware of some of our city leaders. And so Mark Funke is actually here in the room. Good job. Mark Funke is our current city administrator. So grateful for his work in the community. He came to us as the assistant city administrator, and so has done a really nice job of holding our city functions together. Derek Zeisler, manager of Hastings Utilities. Jesse Oswald, city attorney, also here in the room. So grateful for his legal counsel. Lee Bruman, director of engineering, not here, but I was just pulling pictures off of the internet, and so as you can tell, the progression of photos continues to get a lot worse. So I think that this kind of fits like a director of engineering style to just have one pixelated image that is not focused on Lee. So
I think he was doing
again,
an interview on that photo.
Could be. So Tony, perhaps we could find a new photo for Lee Bruman. So he does lots of good work. Budget has been obviously a big topic within our community for the last few months. Roger Nash does a nice job as our director of finance. And then these are a couple of new city employees. Kevin Kubo, while not new to the city, new to the position of Director of Development Services. And then Kelly is our new director of the Hastings Public Library. And so I hope that you at some point have an opportunity to get to know and connect with all of these people and the good work that they do on behalf of our community. So I'm fortunate, I actually serve as a liaison on the public library board, so I get to work with Kelly and the other advisory board members regarding the public library.
Yeah, Kevin, you have a couple of meetings coming up this week, I do believe?
Yes, I have 4 meetings for certified local government. So we'll have 4 public meetings to invite people to discuss historic significance of structures in their districts. And we have 4 people from the state that will answer any questions that anybody might have on this process. We're trying to finish up what's been started in creating historic districts. So this is just another step in that process to create districts and to get additional funding for those structures in those districts.
And district, for Ward 4, you have one at the Morrison Reed, not
Yes.
Morrison Reed, you have it at the Barrett Alumni Center. And what day is that?
I believe that is Friday.
Is it Friday?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, listen to Tony for dates and times for the other locations. Puts it on the Facebook. I think it's actually on the newspaper too, with that information. So I just want to give that plug because it's another source of input that citizens have as an opportunity. So.
Good. Thanks, Kevin. Let's start with a topic, City Hall. I'm sure many of you have been aware of our City Hall. This is a picture, it's kind of hard actually to remember what City Hall used to look like. So this is an older picture of what City Hall used to look like. The previous status, the roof was leaking. There was mold and asbestos throughout the building in a variety of locations. Some non-functional space, limited access from a handicap accessibility perspective. There were some security challenges. It was originally built in 1962 as a bank. And so, as many of you have probably driven by, there's been lots of work going on regarding City Hall. And so, early spring-ish, March-ish is kind of the anticipated time that City Hall is anticipated to be done. There will be an expanded council chambers. For those of you who have been to a city council meeting in the previous City Hall, sometimes our chambers were not large enough. And so there were often times where there were overflow, and so we'd have to use other rooms and have a live screen television that would broadcast into another room. And so it'll be nice to have a little bit of extra room there. Since we've been meeting out at the Hastings Airport, it has been nice to have the additional space that the airport has provided for us. And so, again, hoping that the expanded council chambers areas will be helpful for us in the future. The same departments will be in the new City Hall that was in the previous City Hall. So that's Finance, Development Services, and City Administration. Am I forgetting anybody?
No.
Okay. And the roof and windows and basements have all been water sealed, so fingers crossed we don't have any continued water challenges in the future. It will all be ADA compatible, and all told at the end of the project it will be about an $8.8 million project to get that finished. And so again, fingers crossed spring. They're making such great progress here over the course of the last few months in particular. Now that all of the windows and everything are in, you can really tell that they're finally starting to make some progress inside. Brian, did you have anything else here regarding the City Hall?
I really don't. When I wasn't part of the original decision of City Hall, but overall, listening to Lee and the project updates that they've been doing, so I manage right now almost an $8 million project in Grand Island for a building that's up there. Everybody knows in construction, and Craig knows, there's change orders and processes of things that happen. Engineers don't necessarily get it right sometimes, and so there's always challenges and changes to change orders. And I think reviewing a lot of those change orders, the city's done a really good job in the stewards of that parameter that the council originally set. So I'm pleased with how far this has progressed. Everybody thinks it's going to happen like that. Construction projects do take some time, and especially when you're renovating a very old building. We've renovated a lot of buildings out of Central, and they take sometimes years for their buildings to get done because we run into challenges out there with reinforced rebar and problems. But timeline-wise, I think they're doing a fantastic job. So.
I personally am very happy, and I know we heard from a lot of folks during the initial discussions regarding what to do with City Hall. I'm happy that City Hall remains downtown. I think that there's some nice synergy associated with the Adams County Courthouse, also some of the business district there. I think it's also easy for folks to get in and out of that location pretty easily, and so I am excited for it to be done. I do think it will be a building that we can be proud of for a long time in the future, and hopefully we don't have any other issues that we have to deal with it going forward. So, any questions about City Hall? Yes.
You said expanded council chambers. Give it a relation to, I mean, I understand you're looking at prints and everything, but compared to something that we have currently, size-wise.
Ooh, do you know by chance, Mark, off the top of your head, how many seats?
I think it'll seat about 100. And I think right now out at the airport, we have about 75 or 80 seats, so it'll be a little bit bigger than that.
I actually kind of, looking at this room, just kind of visually makes me think like, it might be about this size for the council chambers. And so, again, I think,
A little bigger.
and so a nice size that we can hopefully utilize for meetings a long time into the future. So, good question. Yeah. Any other questions regarding City Hall? All right. Brian, do you want to take this hot potato first?
Yeah, sure. I would love to, actually. So I was hoping there would be a whole lot of Hastings College kids in the room tonight that I could survey. I think we have 2 right now. But I'll just take maybe a third one over here or something like that. How often do you eat in town?
Not often.
Not often, because they provide a good meal plan here? Well, they did just change to the Scott's dining environment, so I get it. How about you?
Pretty good. I usually go to Grand Island.
You eat Grand Island for food? Yeah.
There you go. What's your
So-
favorite place to go in Grand Island then?
Canes.
Canes.
Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, that's my daughter's.
It's always good.
So Hastings College currently hosts about right around 900 to 1,000 students. They can hold up to about 1,100. Central Community College hosts right around 500, give or take, about 300 in the dorms. So I've been milling over this discussion about restaurant tax for a while, and one of the things that it comes to mind when it comes to this is I did a survey of other restaurant owners and asking, and I'm hoping we're getting more data from our city administration about this, because I asked this specifically is like, does restaurant taxes, because that was the question, does restaurant taxes cause declines in people eating out in their community? Like, does it literally stop people from like going out and having Wendy's, or stops people from going to Odyssey in their community? And I want that data. So I want to be able to say, hey, is it going to affect our restaurants? Because the last thing we want to do is affect our restaurants to put them out of business because of that, right? Does it have an effect? Does 1%, does 2%? I just came from a place where it's like 9.5%. And so you do have a concern when it gets that high. You're like, wow, like I'm $100, I'm paying $10 in taxes for something I just consumed, and which is gonna just rent in my body and then go away, right? So like you have that thought process in your head, but I always think that this is a consuming tax. So, and it's only on prepared food, right? It's only in our restaurants. And so when I look at Hastings College and I look at the opportunities that we have a lot of people that come from Kansas to Walmart. We have a lot of sports activities that happen in the summertime for all of our softball fields that come. We host quite a few conferences at the college. We have a lot of sporting events that come to Hastings College. Any of you guys do sports? Track? You have family that's planning to come watch you at least once or twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So one way to offset taxes, and every community our size or greater has a restaurant tax in place, whether it's 2% or 1% or 0.5%, 0.5%, or whatever it might be. they're using that as another mechanism to get sales, to get income from those that can afford it, right? And those from outside communities that are using our services. So every time that somebody goes to Walmart on the weekend that comes from Kansas, do you think they're bringing a sack lunch with them? No. They're stopping at Wendy's, they're stopping at McDonald's, they're stopping at Back Alley, they're stopping in places in town, using our services, using our community buildings, using our streets and our roads. There is a percentage, and I've talked to two business owners in town, on the weekends, about 60% of their traffic is out of towners. Exactly. Whoa. So when I think about, do I want to tax more on property taxes, or do I want to go after something that might be a consumption tax? You know, paying $10 and paying 10 cents, or paying $100 and paying $1, has a different tone to it, right? So if I'm wealthy, right, and I can afford a $100 dinner, I'm going to pay that extra $1 in taxes or whatever it might be in that, opposed to somebody that might be in lower income or medium income that goes to Wendy's that pays $10 and will pay penny or 10 cents on that, right? So there is a consumption based on that. So the more wealthy you are, the more taxes you're going to pay because you're paying for a finer experience of dining in the community, right? So there is that piece in there that I'm like in my head saying, this is a good model to go after. And especially if I know that on weekends, softball weekends, everything else, when they order pizzas, all of that is revenue that could potentially come into our community that doesn't have to be completely offset by the citizens of Hastings. So when I think about that restaurant tax, I think, hey, is there a good way that we can capture other dollars to help offset our current deficits? Because we're not running in a good space right now. This is a piece of the pie that can help with that solution in spaces that other communities can help provide. Okay, and it is common in other communities. Some communities do it to the baseline. We've had discussions as council. We had our summit. We said, hey, is this something we wish to allocate in a space of like a specific project? Me and Mark actually talked about this a little bit. We want to say it's just for this. When we come down to it, we can still say that, even if it goes to general funds. We want this money to go towards this thing as a budget, a general budget. We can say we want, just like we allocated City Hall, we want this funding to go this direction. We can do that. If we limit it to things, like we say, it has a restricted fund balance to it, we're less agile to move on those things that we wish to do in our community. So, can we restrict the funds? Yes. Do we want to restrict the funds? In my mind, no. It gives us the ability to do things when we run into cash crunches, or we have this other great thing we want to do in our community, right? So, it does help defray the $2 million debt that we're running every year. We're dipping into our reserves. We're not in a good space right now with that. So I think this is a good method of addressing our revenue to our community. Now, I'm still obviously, and I've talked with our administrator, we still have things to do when it looks to cutting our budgets, refining our budgets. There's still things that we can do, and it takes time to do those things. But I'm for it on the grounds that other people are paying revenue to our community in that aspect. Do I want to offset property taxes? Maybe, because that's one of the biggest contentions in our community is property taxes. And we're not the ones that take the most, I'll tell you that much. Our schools do, which I will always pay for school and education, but anyway, that's my own personal philosophy. But Matt brought up an example of different taxes in different areas. I went to Boulder, Colorado. I think it was 9.5%. They spell it all out. And actually it's getting a little bit more confusing in communities too on this sales tax. They can tax specific areas So like across the street, the tax might not be there, but in this area, the tax is there. I think the Good Life tax is one that might be moving on that philosophy that has that. It's just weird, like if two different dining establishments have two different taxes, that would be complicated in itself. But I think a restaurant tax, a flat restaurant tax, is appropriate to help our community. So you can see Kearney and Grand Island and the other locations that have them as well. So that's my kind of general thinking about it.
So when you go to Chick-fil-A in Grand Island, you're already paying 1.5% in restaurant tax.
I never noticed it.
Never even noticed it.
You didn't never see it, no.
So this was, I thought, a helpful kind of graphic that was presented during one of our city council work sessions that basically just kind of outlines. So if we start here at 1%, 1.5 to 2.5%, how much revenue based on the last couple of years would be derived for the community in each of those years if we would have had a restaurant tax in place. So then again, you could forecast what that would look like, hopefully, going forward into the future. So again, you can see Kearney has 1%, Grand Island has 1.5, Fremont 1%, La Vista 1%, Lincoln 2%, Omaha 2.5%. So you can kind of see where other communities are. Amazing to me to see what revenue is being derived by Grand Island at 1.5%, 3.2 million. And so amazing to see those dollars going into their city budgets to help offset or defray or fund other parts of their community.
What do you think? So Grand Island Chick-fil-A opened up, right? What do you think their annual revenue is on just day-to-day bringing in cheeseburgers, fries? I'm not asking. Anybody have an idea what that might be for one restaurant? Let's say they bring in $1 million. They're getting 1% of $1 million, which is not, probably a lot more than that. I would say they're probably bringing in $1 million a month. So like revenue-based, cash across the street, across in their register, probably 12 million, let's say. So they're getting $120,000 from Chick-fil-A in sales and restaurant taxes. So one new store, $120,000 in revenue taxes for the city to use. So
They have a district tax too.
do they? Yeah, they have the Good Life tax. I think that's up in that area. I
There's
know
3
that.
taxes,
Yeah,
state, city,
and they have the state fair too, right?
restaurant.
What
So-
about like Russ's or Walmart that provide dinners that a lot of people go pick up? Is that included in the restaurant tax?
We asked that at our last session, and I don't know if we've gotten that answer yet. If like the counter services at Russ's, like they have the nice.
The
General
cafes.
rule is if they pay sales tax now, then yes, probably the restaurant tax applies to them.
If they're coded as that, right? So that's the other thing. It's a weird, like, we don't have it on the slide, but there's like 7 codes that when you are applying as a business, those 7 or 8 codes determine whether you're considered in that tax bracket. Somebody asked the other day for like concessions at games, at high school games. Schools are nonprofits. The clubs that are nonprofits in there, they don't apply to any sales tax processes. So school lunches, nope. All that's out the window when it comes to that.
So if you're looking at a restaurant tax to help reduce the amount of money you pull from the citizens for our budget, in this last 2 years, we've always had a lot of contention on the budget. It came down to the wire time. Is there anything else you're doing that'll help reduce the burden on us taxpayers so that we don't have to pay as much?
So, so last council session when I was involved, so this is year 1 still, I think I got sworn in December. So some of the questions that came to me is like, yeah, sales tax, property tax is a big burden in the community. What are we doing? So one of the things I work with, like when we talked with Mark as the summit, is like we're not interested in raising the tax levy. So one, let's keep it down, but every time, and you know how the levy works because you've been in enough meetings to understand that Doesn't matter, we could lower that sucker further and further and further down as long as our property appreciation continues to rise. We're going to continue getting income. So even if we set the levy as what it is, we're still as a city making $900,000, the same amount, because the appreciated value of our community goes up every year. So we try to decrease it. Grand Island, I think, public schools, no, Grand Island City reduced theirs, but like I just said, they added a Chick-fil-A, and they're recouping $120,000 in taxes just by having a restaurant tax in place, right? So am I working with that? Yes. I've gone through 11 months of budget work with every department head last year to understand where their budget is and where their line item is. And they are doing due diligence in removing positions. They have removed positions in our city to help combat the issue that we're running into the budget deficit issues. So is there further that can be done? Absolutely. I just ran in the other day to our IT manager. I said, I think it'd be wise for you to start thinking about what could be done to consider outsourcing some of our services. So he's going to go and do those things. Mark, just letting you know, I met with him the other day.
I'm aware.
Yeah. So these things have to happen. Now I'll tell you, I've been in IT for 20 years. Outsourcing is sometimes not the answer. Sometimes that check comes back bigger, and you get less quality of service because you are paying for a service to be maintained and not growing. So there is pros and cons to going after things like that. But I tasked him, because I know IT, I've been in IT for 20 plus years before I started doing this. Outsourcing is an option in some cases. Can that reduce FTE? Or can that better our services? Those are the questions that we're asking IT right now and other departments to look at. And it should be looked at. So, are we doing things? Yes.
Yeah, specifically what you do, just the IT, that's it.
So far, that's the one I visited with so far.
So have you talked to any restaurant owners?
Yeah, I've talked to 3 of them. But more importantly, I want the data that comes with revenue taxing. I want to know if they actually seen restaurants decrease in sales based on that discussion.
We lost 2 just recently.
Yeah, we don't even have a sales tax. And keep in mind, sales tax is a pass-through tax. Isn't that right, restaurant owners? It's a pass-through tax. It has nothing to do with their bottom revenue. So it goes from $102 at $2 goes to the city. They still are making their $100 sale on that, whatever they're selling to you.
Well, do they get as many people through the door as a result of those?
That's the question I want to ask. That is the question we need to be asking ourselves, and that's what I've asked and requested from the city to take a look at. Has the revenue dropped in any of those communities? I'm going to tell you, it's probably not there. I've seen Grand Island, they just put in like 5 new restaurants, right? Chick-fil-A, Raising Cane's, you name it, they're in there. Yeah, Craig.
I'd like to point out the elephant in the room, though, as you compare Kearney, Grand Island, Fremont, La Vista, Lincoln, and Omaha. These are communities that are thriving at the moment, not only with development, but their populations are growing insanely, as we speak, and we sit here spinning our wheels. So you got to be careful when you start talking stuff like this that could damage stuff in the future. As we all know, Hastings has had a history of not being able to keep restaurants.
We need to have more kids.
We can talk about, just start listing all the ones that have closed in the last 5 years or come and go. And what happens is this probably does not affect your McDonald's, your Runza, your Burger Kings, your, Freddy's, whoever. But this starts to affect the mom and pop joints that are already operating on a 5 to 15% profit margin on some of them, because it is a very intense business, and it's a very low profit business. And as far as profit margins go, there's a lot of other business that there's a lot bigger profit.
Yeah. Brett, so I work out at the college. One of the programs that I'm in charge of is our hospitality and restaurant management. If you're not selling alcohol, you're scraping by. You are. It's an unfortunate beast because alcohol does have a better profit margin on things, and it's literally one guy 5 seconds pouring it and handing it to you. The labor of love is not into it, right? I'm sorry, Jay, but Pizza's amazing, right? So, yes, you are right. We have to watch out for our mom and pop shops, and we need to have their feedback in this discussion, and making sure that when we present the data, it says, hey, you're not going to see that. But yes, we do have to be good stewards of understanding of that. But I think
20 years in the business, every time that you would take an increase in an increase in price because as goods rose and labor prices rose, insurance, all that, and you would hold as long as you could, because every time you would take if you took a 5% price increase, you lost 5% of your sales. And it had been that way the entire 20 years I was in the business. And if you took a 10% increase, you lost 10% of your sales. Now, you might be making a little more profit at that point because now it's not taking quite as much product to make the same amount, but it was just across the board, it was that way for years. So I don't know if it's changed any, but that would be my biggest concern.
I do think, you know, as active community members here tonight, I think it's really important that this is a healthy conversation regarding our local businesses. And so I think it's really important for us, when and if we make the decision to go out and support local business like a restaurant, that we choose a small business or a local business when we make those decisions. Because I do know the back alley bakeries and the Odysseys and the Tank are the ones that are hiring our local people, who are sponsoring our local kids' youth leagues. And so I really think that it's important for us as consumers to do what we can to try to support those local businesses as much as possible. Because I do know that it is hard, and there are lots of options for us as we look at other restaurants and places to go.
Well, I think if you just keep adding these taxes to the consumers here in Hastings, the wages that most people get in Hastings are not going to go to a restaurant if you just keep raising them.
So what I do like about this is that, well, I travel a lot for work. I've been in all of those communities in the last couple of months. I didn't even know I was paying a restaurant tax. I know that prices are different everywhere you go. What I do like about this potential solution is that it gets us on the path toward meeting that budget deficit. And meeting that budget deficit does mean more people retention, more people attraction, so that Hastings can be a strong community in the same way that we're talking about some of these other ones being a strong community, where the restaurant tax might have something to do with that, the fact that they are growing. So this I think, I appreciate the research that you're doing into viable, sustainable solutions that might be a way for us to meet that budget and continue thriving as a community.
That's the problem. Hastings is a problem.
Will there be any exemptions to anybody? I mean,
So-
if you run a specialized restaurant catered to a certain demographic, could there be any exemptions there?
I don't, so they're done, so the restaurant tax is done on the coding of those 9 or 7 different type of codes of business. So when you apply for a business, you're assigned a code that categorizes you. I don't know what that exemption would be. Like, we want to exempt our local non-franchisees, right? Or what are you thinking about, like that type of
I
exemption?
know the new corporate restaurant here in town, it's the Village Diner. Very reasonable, they cater to old people like us. And I'm thinking a 1-2% increase in the fees is gonna kill them.
Is that out of Good Sam?
Yeah, Good Sam.
I've never been there, so
Yeah.
I should try it. Good?
Yeah, good. Real cheap. But they cater to old people.
Yeah, so like, the question would be, is they exist under like a 503C program
I
or
have
something
no
like
idea.
that? Right, so that would be the question.
You appreciate you looked into it.
Yeah.
I hate to see that place close.
Right.
several hundred people a day go through there.
And it is good food there too.
I bet you it's not as good as Taco Tuesday buffet.
You know what, it's better than anything in that town.
No, Taco Tuesday buffet is amazing. So, any other feedback on restaurant tax?
You have to realize we're getting rid of the penny. So what's gonna happen?
It'll take a long time to get rid of it.
I'm just saying, what's gonna happen to the, instead of having 98 cents, it's gonna have to be $1.
It's like the gas thing. You ever notice that like little
Yeah.
other 9 on there? You're automatically paying that extra penny.
I realize, but I'm just saying, no more pennies will be coming back.
Yeah.
So you have to look
I
at
don't-
it that
good
way.
question,
It's gonna go up
good
a
question.
nickel, it's
I don't
gonna go
know.
up a dime.
I wonder
whatever
how
it is.
long will it take for like the penny to cycle out?
I don't know, I'm
I don't
just
know.
saying, think of that
Oh.
too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does Hastings have a city hotel tax? Do visitors that come play pay
Yes.
tax?
Yes, we do have an occupational tax.
How much is that?
There are hotels,
3%.
3%, and that goes to the, portion of that goes to the Adams County Visitor Bureau.
It's split between the museum and convention and visitor bureau.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
currently taxing our hotels. Taxing our visitors. Any other topics on sales tax? Not sales tax, restaurant tax. Yeah, Mark.
Is it much of a burden to the restaurant owners to collect, keep track of, and then send in a check? Or is it pretty much all computerized and it's no big deal? Not being a restaurant owner, I think about bureaucracy and more needing to be on top of an extra thing to take care of. Or is that not really a big deal to a restaurant owner? Or have you heard?
I haven't heard. And if there's a restaurant owner in here that can answer that question, my guess would be you're paying your 7%. You might have to pay, I don't know, is it 5, 6%? I think that's what it is. Is it 5, 6% restaurant tax right now?
I think so.
7?
I think it's part of the sales tax Form 10. I think
Yeah,
it's just,
and then-
instead of 7%, it'll be 8%.
And then we get the funding back from the state and they pay that?
No,
What do you get?
No, the restaurant tax comes
Restaurants is paid directly
Yeah.
to the city of Hastings, so it
Sales
would be a
tax
separate
does.
form. But in the proposed ordinance, there is a 2% deduction that restaurant owners can take in order to offset costs they incur for figuring that out and submitting that form.
2% reduction.
Yes, deduction
To the restaurant.
to the restaurant of the percentage that they collect.
And do they have to, I don't think they have to break it out on their receipts or anything like that.
It's not required
to do, Yeah.
but they oftentimes do it.
Boy, I got that receipt when I went out to Boulder, and it was like my thing, and then like a whole list of taxes. It was crazy. And then they went to the next place, it was just one line. And it said tax, it didn't actually say the percentage. So, good to know. Thanks for educating me on
Every
that.
city I've went to since we proposed this restaurant tax, I've collected receipts on when I went to a restaurant. And every city I've went to has it broken down. It'll say on there your state sales tax, your city sales tax, and then some of them call it an occupation tax. Some of them call it a special tax. But it is broken down on your receipt. That way there's some transparency.
Any other thoughts? No? All right, that's slide number, you did it. Good job.
Yeah.
This one's you.
We got some additional conversations here regarding e-bikes, scooters, hoverboards. I think we've all probably seen many of those scooting around our community. And so we have, over the course of the last couple of months, come up with, thanks to Jesse and his good legal work, an ordinance that will go into effect in how many days? Next Tuesday. So coming up here in just a few days. regarding some guidance. So we worked a lot with Hastings Police Department on trying to figure out what's the best way to kind of try to regulate these devices to keep the users safe, but then also to keep the drivers and walkers safe when we're all kind of trying to peacefully coexist in those driven areas. So just a few definitions I put up here. So lightweight e-scooter, hoverboard, e-bike, electronic personal assistive mobility device. I think there are lots of different versions of these that I think we've all seen. The one that is most perplexing to me is just the one wheel that you stand on and how you don't fall off. And so I do so part of the reason why this has been a little challenging to regulate is they change so quickly. And so the new technology associated with these types of e-devices kind of comes out pretty frequently. And so trying to figure out the best ways to regulate them when we don't actually know what the next device will look like. So again, some definitions here of what some of those options are. So with our ordinance, again, Jesse did a nice job because there's not a lot of other ordinances to guide off of in other communities throughout the state. So we really are a little bit of a trailblazer here in our guidance for these types of devices in our community. So these are a few things that is included in our ordinance. So they are not allowed on streets with posted speed limits above 25 miles an hour. So that would mean like Burlington. So when you're cruising 35 up and down Burlington, or 45 as you get farther out of town, those e-devices would not be allowed on Burlington. It is lawful to ride on the hike and bike trails. Speed is posted to be at a safe and reasonable level. So again, if we know or we see or we report, or Hastings Police Department reports that there's somebody who's traveling at 55 miles an hour on an e-scooter on the hike and bike trail, we know that's probably not a safe or reasonable speed. And so again, a nice way for us to kind of regulate that. Shall obey traffic laws, shall signal turns with hand signals, and when riding at night, a front white light and a back red light are to be included on those devices. So again, because they are electronic, they're also very quiet. And so it can be hard to see and know that they're there. And so I do think that the lights at night are important. This is just kind of a little overview of the offenses and kind of the fee schedule associated with that. So first offense, second offense, and third offense, and successive offenses, we hope not. But there is an option for a police officer to apprehend and impound if they need to. And so again, trying to figure out the right ways to both educate, but then also provide some, punishments associated with doing wrong based on some of these ordinances.
So those fines, do they go through the court system?
I'm sorry?
So the fines, would that mean that they'll go through the court system?
The fines do go through Adams County courts, correct? Yeah, I do remember we had that conversation. Again, one of the goals with this that Chief Story was really stressed a lot of this is not necessarily going out and just trying to go and ticket all of the users of these electronic devices, but trying to do a good job of helping to educate the users on how to use them properly and safely. And so looking at trying to provide some of the education on this in schools. So we do see my own personal experience, there are a lot of young people who are using these and trying to figure out what the best way is to educate them about, again, how to keep themselves safe, and then also the other automobile users throughout the community. This is one map that I just pulled up here that does kind of show, and I'm sorry it's a little pixelated, but the red lines here are the streets in town where they would be prohibited from being used. business district, also where they're prohibited from using sidewalks. And so you can see downtown in that area. And then the blue is actually the city limits surrounding the community there. So Brian, I know you had a lot of input on this process.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to add here?
We did some last minute adjustments thanks to Jesse and some of the things that we did to accommodate some of the questions that we had. I worked with Brad Consbrook on some things. I worked with Mike on some things. We had some good discussions because people are using these for transportation, not just like on the vehicle. Like they're using it to get to work and things too. So we wanted to be conscious of that. But first, like the main thing that we wanted to make sure is public safety in our youth is probably the most thing that I was advocating for, because we as adults have a hard enough time trying to figure out, is this right, left, or is this stop, right, on a bicycle? How many actually have seen that in Hastings?
How many have used it?
Right. So
A few. Good job. Keep it up. Keep it
yeah,
up.
it's your left.
Good work.
So ask yourself, do you all remember in grade school stop, drop, and roll? So these are great things that we can educate our population with and help like Hastings College students, help elementary students realize that there's rules and there's laws to our traffic. We have a lot of bicyclists in town, some pretty, we have Olympic bicyclists in this community that's rode in on bicycles in this community. And they say it's a little dangerous because people are not paying attention to bicyclists that do have a right of way, right? And part of that hike and bike trail is to help support exercise and for people to get around their bikes. So we wanted to make sure that they could still use that, right? Why would you prevent that stuff? Some of them are assistive, right? So they're pedal plus power, right? Which is good. So they still get some exercise. I'm just thankful some of these kids are getting out and using these things instead of using their Xboxes and their cell phones more. Getting those kids out there and doing these activities is important. If it's a way for them to get to their friend's house in town, if it's a way for them to get down to a coffee shop downtown. Now, you can't ride on 2nd Street. You do have to pull up your e-bike thing or bicycle and ride along or walk it or whatever it might be. But we worked pretty hard on this. One of the things that Jay did a pretty good job on this as well. So he had some pretty good initial conversations with us as a council, like we need to get this through. So thanks for your leadership in that. And it's a living, breathing document is what we ended with. Like, so if something's not working out, we can make adjustments to help make sure we're staying safe, right? So that was the other piece is we try out this. If it works, if it doesn't, what do we need to change? What new things are going to come out that we have to do? You know, is there going to be stilts that are hoverboards? I don't know. That'd be kind of weird, but yeah.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not going to use that. But any brave souls in here that do have a hoverboard or e-scooter? No. Okay. No.
Yeah?
Mobility scooter.
Mobility scooter? Let's go 25 plus? 30?
I don't ride it that fast because
You wear a helmet?
hit the ground at that speed.
Hope you're wearing a helmet. That's one of the things that I was hoping for, but we wanted to get this out first.
What does the blue line stand for?
That's the city limits.
City limits.
So the city limits goes out behind the middle school? That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, and so the kids can't drive their hoverboards or whatever to middle school out there because that road's all closed off?
So middle school, I think, would be right here, correct?
Oh, that's not where I'm looking.
Yeah, that's middle school.
Okay.
Because this is
So-
second.
So they would be able to.
Yeah. And they're able to cross.
So what are you saying? I don't understand how the kids can use those bikes or hoverboards or whatever they're using to get to the middle school.
They can cross streets.
Okay.
So they can still cross.
Okay, and there's no bike
we don't have bike trails that accommodate that with our streets at all.
If I was here 20 years ago, that would be I wanted the bike trail. Personally, I want the bike trails to go to every school in our community, and make that a priority for our kids to do stuff like that. Now, they do go around in some of the spaces. Close, but they don't go
Not
around the
directly.
school.
Yeah.
So,
You had a question here.
I think my biggest complaint is they don't announce when they're behind you. And they go, and you know, I walk at 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's
I
dark.
try to walk against the right side on the trail.
Yeah.
And they go zooming by you. It doesn't matter if it's a regular bicycle or what it is.
No, I would agree with that. And so part of this too is we're not going to regulate common courtesy. And so I do think, we hope that through this process that there's some conversations that we have that parents become more aware of, hey, we need to educate our kids about using these with others and being good citizens with others on hikes and bike trails or in park areas in particular, because there are lots of other people around.
That's my big
I
complaint.
would I was wondering if they could like install like a bell or something, like alarm something.
That's perfect.
It would be nice.
It would be nice, right?
I would agree. Because there have been many a times, probably like you, and sometimes I go out on my walk or my run and I have my headphones in too, and so if there's somebody who comes up behind you, man alive, does it just scare the bejesus
Can't
out of you.
hear 'em.
I know, it's so true. Yeah, did you have something?
So if I've got, if there's a student living, let's say, around the lake somewhere, and they need to get to the high school, are they allowed to ride on the sidewalk as they go over the overpass, or, because they can't be on Burlington itself, right?
right.
Or do they have to carry it and
So
walk?
that was a discussion, right, for that area. And so right now, the regulation would be that if they're coming over the overpass, they can't ride, they would have to walk it over. So any of these spaces that are in the red, they can
ride on the sidewalk.
They can ride on the sidewalk.
Take the sidewalk all over the overpass, both sides.
Okay, so using these devices on the sidewalk is always okay?
But not on the street.
Yes.
And so some of the discussions regarding sidewalks are also challenging in our community too, right? Because there are some areas that have sidewalks and some areas that don't. Some areas have sidewalks, but maybe the sidewalks are in pretty poor shape too. And so, you know, there was a discussion at one point about just restricting them only to sidewalks. Well, that doesn't necessarily work in all areas of our town. So again, some challenging things to kind of navigate as you look at kind of regulating this issue. Yeah, go ahead.
When you say a headlight and a tail light on your machine, does that mean they can wear a headlamp on their head and a flashing light on their back?
Yes. Yes. I wish they would.
Well, yeah, that would be nice because you'd at least see them at night.
Mhm.
But they're out there and you don't see it.
Yeah. So imperfect, but getting better.
Yeah,
So
there's some specifics
the
on
headlight
that.
and the tail light should be on the board or on the scooter.
Is
It
it?
can be, it doesn't specify.
It
what-
doesn't
what has
specify.
to be.
Okay. I do know that there are lots of them currently that do have the lights affixed to the actual
I've
devices.
seen them.
Yeah. Especially since it's getting dark at 4:30, we see that more prevalently.
So do we have, I've seen these in some cities, and I can't recall if I've seen them here. Do we have share the street signs?
I know that there are some. There probably are some areas where we could put more of those out.
You know, places where.
Because I think we have one around the
determine-
park down. I think that there is, yeah.
But I mean, places where they're riding out in the street, you know. So if we have them going down 7th Street, they're going out to junior high, you know. Let's have some of those signs, even though the streets don't have that bike lane in them. let's at least have some of these high traffic areas for these scooters, e-bikes, bicycles, to say, share the street, you know, so that people are aware that this could be a potential of high traffic of bicycles. No different than a deer crossing sign.
Yeah.
I think that's good enough. Any other questions?
Gonna have to register them, or, 'cause I think years ago, they used to have to register bicycles. 'Cause I think there's some bicycles had to have plates on them, little ID numbers, years ago.
We talked a little bit about that, and police department said that is the most unproductive thing that they've ever had to manage. They get stolen bikes, the stickers come off, they don't, yeah. So we had that discussion, it didn't really go very far on registering bikes, because frankly, if you're gonna register it, it takes man hours, you have to charge a fee. People aren't registering them, just like they're not registering their dogs. So it's kind of left off the law. I encourage you, it helps locating stuff, but right now it's not something that is in the law for it.
I got one quick question, only because it was brought up today. We had a non-traditional student that was his only means to get to town, to get to work.
Yeah.
And he lives on campus. And so could he, if he puts lights and stuff on it, is he then legal to ride? Because, you know, looking here, he can't go down Highway 6, he can't go down.
Not supposed to.
And so he was, you know, just talking today about, didn't know how he was gonna get to and from work. And he works at Ampride South, so it's quite a jaunt.
And so like bicyclists, they can still do it, right? They can still be on the highways. You know, I'll tell you how many times I've seen the city police out at CCC, and that's because we have security out there. You know, I hope, you know, we give people like that the common courtesy of like, hey, this is my only transportation, that we let them continue with what they're doing. It's more about public safety, I hope, with the law than it is to hammer them down. I know what you're talking about. We have quite a few, actually. We have some workers in Hastings too. Mike Anderson brought it up. We have workers in town that have to use that as their transportation because they don't have their license anymore.
Yeah.
So, I get where you're at with that, Craig, and I wish we had a bike path to and from the college to the city, but right now we don't. So, I would say be careful.
It's on the list.
Right?
On the list. We do have a few more topics to cover. 20 minutes left. I think we can do it. Quiet crossings. This is just kind of a little update. I think many of you have probably seen the progress that is being made on the quiet crossings. So summer of 26, the last two, is that correct? Elm Street and Colorado Avenue will be completed, and so the goal is for the Quiet Crossings project to be initiated by the end of 26. And so quiet crossings don't take effect until all of the crossings are completed. So even though there have been many of these completed, oh, the pointer just like disappears on that screen already, it doesn't matter. So the quiet crossings are not initiated until all of them are completed. As many of you know, probably the last one will be the most complex. Elm Street will be a little bit of a bigger intersection to try to work through, and so again, a bigger one to accomplish there. So. Any questions about that? Yeah, in the back.
Will the roundabout be coming at the same time as our crossing on Elm Street is coming?
Look at that. Just, our
Because we're
next
pretty
topic.
trapped over there in our area sometimes.
They're just slow. So no, not completely. And so the quiet crossings will be completed first. There's still more work to do on the roundabout and the Highway 6 project. So they don't happen exactly at the same time.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So the quiet crossing will be done before they get the roundabout in, so
Correct.
Elm Street will be closed 2 times.
Yep.
Months.
Probably. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So make sure you visit Lorenzo on Elm Street.
It would be nice. That's a tricky intersection. Other questions? Highway 6, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I've been, Bill Heisman was our campus president a long time ago at CCC. We all thought he was nuts when he introduced a roundabout to our campus, because nobody would ever understand it. People would have accidents all over the place, and we as employees yelled at Bill Heisman for putting in roundabouts. Believe it or not, we've had them out there for 10 years, and we have students, and they're the best drivers in the world, right? And we don't have accidents out there. Why? Because it's a pretty easy understanding of how you enter a roundabout, and usually when people don't understand them, guess what? They drive slower. They don't drive faster through them. So we at the college are talking about, you know, some of the things, how our students are going to get to campus when all the roundabouts or the corner changes on Showboat and 6 happen as well, and that's in the second phase. One thing I would say about a roundabout in this location is a lot of people had this theory that if we left it as what it is, everybody like, you know, the way it is like we assume that there's 2 roads there, right? Like right next to Eldon's, that we kind of like squeeze over to turn right to go north on Elm. But then you get that guy that just takes up both. You're like, why are you in the way? Blah blah blah. Well, there is going to be some better traffic from that Eldon spot. That there's a 2-lane. So there's a 2-lane that's coming in there. It goes when you can go straight, right? And then you can also go right towards the tracks, right? So there is a 2-lane progress that's in there. So congestion, theoretically, and I'm not an engineer by any means. The state has engineers, smart people. We assume they're smart, right? Because they're engineers. They're hired to do a job. Believe that the traffic is going to flow better because you can still go around them on that second lane of the roundabout and still go down South Street. You can still go another direction. But if you have somebody blocking that on Highway 6 and wanting to go right, now I hope the common courtesy is to continue, because we all look down there and we straight go, oh, well, I'm not turning right. I'm still going to go straight and I'm going to go into the underpass, which is still an option. Still an option for all of us if the train's sitting there. But I think it's going to be a great project in my mind. You can see it, yeah, actually, it's right there, right? So if this sucker gets backed up because people are going that way, right, heading towards college, Lorenzo, this one will still go through and flow, still traffic. So I personally think this is an improvement over what we have right now in that space.
What about truck traffic? How does the truck traffic handle that same way they can make it around it?
So the truck traffic is technically not supposed to go through this space. The idea is that they're going to hit that J Street and go south and around, but they won't. They'll still go through it.
I'm a truck driver. They're going to take the shortest route. That's what they're paid.
Are we gonna have the curb?
You'll have, so like a curb, like a little relief spot?
No, by Ponchatoula.
No, that is going out.
No, the curve would, in this graphic, the curve would be here. And so that curve is taken out.
Yeah.
What about the train traffic? I've already sat by that back on Elm Street for 20, 30 minutes. I even stopped and went in the thrift store there because I was killing so much time. Where does all this traffic go when it backs up all that ways?
So that's kind of what Brian was talking about here, is that's why that there's a 2-lane here that's supposed to allow for traffic to back up if needs for waiting for trains.
Yeah. This will still, this route right here will still be allowing you to go down South Street without it being backed up at the current intersection where it will be.
A lot of us are just right on the other side of the track.
Yeah. Or on the other side of it.
can go clear around the block to go to Rouse.
Well, if there's a train there, you are.
Mark, do I have this number listed correctly?
About 45,000.
Million?
45 million.
I wish it was.
And is estimated completion still looking at 27?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I think we've all probably seen that there has been a lot of utility work that's been done up and down Highway 6 and in this area over the course of the last year. The Nebraska Department of Transportation is opening bids actually in 2 days for the construction phase of this as well.
Yeah,
So
I think Lee reported at the Planning Commission meeting today that the east side of Highway 6, as they move that direction, could bleed into early 2028, but this part would be finished before that.
And the $45 million figure includes the about $10 million for utility work.
That's the total.
So the actual highway project itself is about 35 or 36 million.
correct.
And this is just one, this is one part, right? So there's 2 phases and 8 phases in each one of those. So if you look online, there's improvements that are gonna happen on Showboat and 6 as well. So there's gonna be some left turns and some right turns in there to improve Showboat where the CPI is. Everybody loves that intersection. That's my favorite in town, by the way, along with the one on Elm Street. It's just like, that is a terrible spot too, especially during harvest season. To combat. So some improvements on that street as well down there. And I think there's some improvements down by 3 Points as well. So there's some improvements that'll happen down that area as well. So
Are they leaving the curve in by 3 Points? Last I heard they were.
they are leaving that curve in the way it is. So, but there is a way on the, there's a change there to put where the stop is, where KHAS right there is, where the old place was. There is it's gonna come more parallel to the road when I looked at it. So it's a little bit better of a view instead of a turn, oh my gosh, is there somebody coming? Look, so it's supposed to be a little bit safer at that corner. So.
Any other questions about this project? A big one. I think that someone told me that this project in the Highway 6 area has been on discussion for probably 20 years. And so I know this is a project that's taken a long time to see some improvement. Anything else here? I was just going to, kind of make mention here. We appreciate and encourage you to reach out to your council people and your mayor regarding issues or your community. Attend council meetings. So our meetings are the 2nd and 4th Mondays of each month. Work session is the 3rd Monday generally. And so 6 o'clock at the Hastings Airport is our current meeting schedule. December is weird, however, and so in December we only have one meeting. So it's the Christmas gift to us, and so we do just have one meeting. I think it's on the 8th. Is that correct? Yeah, December 8th. And so only one meeting in December, and then we will resume our regular schedule beginning in January. There is an option, as I mentioned before. Brian and I's contact information is listed on the city website. We encourage you to reach out and connect with us. There are some people in this room who already have my contact information and call me, and so I appreciate that. And so we do value the feedback and the communication. There is an option on the website where you can actually email the mayor and entire council at once. And so if you have something that you want to share with the entire council, there's the option to do that. So it's on the website. Anything else to that?
And we read every single one of them that come in. Right? I read every one, buddy. And it's important.
I'll keep sending it.
Please.
How many do you get a day?
Depends on how angry I am about something.
That's right. If he gets really angry, it's 4 times. It goes in the listing 4 times. It depends. From the citizens, it depends on the topic. Right now, this week, I have heard nothing from anybody. Last week, I heard from Craig. I've heard two concerns about restaurant tax because we talked about it, I don't know, 2 months ago in that space. I'm sure we'll hear some things about how angry, this light celebration will be going on to Thursday and why I couldn't park somewhere or something like that will come up through the thing. It is your opportunity to voice and concern, and sometimes our job, and I always say this, our job is to connect the resources sometimes, because sometimes we're like, well, this light's been out forever and I need this fixed. Well, I might send you a link to a website because there's a serial number on every street light that has to be reported so they know to locate it. So sometimes my job is just to connect the dots to you to say, hey, this is how you can get this information to get that light fixed. Or instead of me going back and forth and trying to find out what that light serial number is, give you the correct information where it's at, right? So you can report that stuff.
That's streetlight at cityofhastings.org is
that what it is?
Well, that's the email address for that.
So
You're helpful to have here, Tony. Thanks. We appreciate that. We appreciate that.
We got about 10 more minutes. You have a couple planned?
Yeah, just one more. That's
Yeah.
it. And so as you all know here, folks, we just finished a presidential election cycle. That means the midterm election cycle comes up. We are a council of 8. So that means in the midterms and in the presidential elections, there's always 4 council people that go up for election or re-election each time. So we start again here. And so January is the first date for candidates to file for the 2026 upcoming election. February 17th is the last day for incumbents to file. Non-incumbents have until March 2nd to file. Primary election is May 12th, and the general election is coming up on November 3rd. So do encourage those who might have passion and want to see our community to continue to thrive, to run for office. And so I think, as I mentioned before, this is my second term in office. I will not be running for re-election coming up, so this would be my election cycle, so I will not be running again. So there will be a spot available in Ward 4, and so if you would like to run for Ward 4, certainly happy to visit with you about that. But we need more people who are focused on a positive future for our community. And so I certainly hope that there are people who are interested and willing to do so. I know I have really appreciated the opportunity to serve you all in my community. It's a really wonderful experience, most of the time.
There's also opportunities, not just in the general election, there's opportunities all the time to serve in this community. So if you want to be on some type of planning and zoning, tree board, library board, there's a lot of opportunities. There's an application on the website to submit for that. I would say it's one of the best ways to get yourself involved in some type of civic engagement. Jay receives and Mark receives all those applications. They're thoroughly read to look at the expertise that you may have to be able to provide to those different boards. And some of you might be like, well, I don't know. Well, think about what you want to be part of. And maybe you have it in talent on taxes or easements or things like that that might get you into planning and zoning or CRA or something like that. So please, if you have it, submit an application, say which ones you'd like to be. It's okay to have a pool of candidates and a list to be able to pull from when somebody leaves those boards. That's a big piece in there as well. So, and I won't just say this, we have a lot of nonprofits in this community that needs boards as well. We have a lot of unfilled positions or boards that have like 5 people on them and they're working boards and they need like 12 people to help. So if you want to engage yourselves in other nonprofit boards, I highly encourage those. It was great for me when I was before this, getting involved in other types of boards like Mentoring Works as an example. So you're not going to run.
I'm not. 2 terms seems like a good enough amount. So, thank you for coming out today. We really appreciate the opportunity to connect with you all. Myself, Brian, I think probably the mayor, Mark, Jesse, Kevin, everybody will probably stick around for a few more minutes. If you have any other questions, you're welcome. to stick around and ask. But again, we appreciate you coming out tonight, and 3 cheers to Hastings. Yeah.